Salutations, everyone. You have tuned into On Air with Walt. And, of course, we have our audience. And we've got an exciting show today. We have the mother of the Matrix on. It's a real treat to have Sophia Stewart on. And she's going to tell us how she is the mother of the Matrix and the Terminator. And we're going to talk about how the two correlate. And it's an amazing story, an amazing journey, and I think you're going to enjoy it. It's, again, our show is all about the guest. And in this instance, Sophia's the guest. So without any further ado, you got to keep that audience in check. So, Sophia.
I love that audience.
Yes, we all do. So welcome. And again, you can find us all, just to let you know, you can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Prime, TuneIn, Spreaker, and of course here at UBN Radio, which is UBN Radio, UBN Go, excuse me, I'm dating myself, UBNGo.com, and my website, of course, is OnAirWithWalt.com, and you can find us also on YouTube, On Air with Walt. So, Sophia, thanks so much for being in the neighborhood. I know we're doing this by Zoom. You're out of state in Las Vegas, one of my favorite towns when I travel. Been there a lot, and it's a great town.
It's one of my favorite places also. Reminds me of New York and never sleeps because I never go to sleep.
Ah.
So I love it.
That explains a lot.
Yes. And for definitely.
So, but you started in New York, if I recall. Is that correct?
Did I start what in New York?
Well, you went to school in New York for the beginnings. I mean, where were you originally?
Well, yeah, I'm from New York.
And you're from New York.
I'm from New York City, and I ended up going to school in USC, University of Southern California, Trojans, and that's where I wrote The Matrix and Terminator. It came from my Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book. The copyrights are 81, 83, and 84, and I'm the creator and the owner of the Matrix and Terminator franchises, but not the tagline "Mother of the Matrix." That's for people who do music. That's for Diddy and 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg and all those guys.
Okay.
They use taglines, but owners, you don't call the late Steve Jobs the father of Apple, and you don't call Bill Gates the father of Microsoft. They are the founders and the owners and creators.
Yes.
And so am I.
Well, of course you
I have
are.
A brand, Matrix and Terminator brand, just like their brand.
Yeah, but it's your brand versus their brand. So
I
there is a
brand,
difference.
Matrix and Terminator, which I sell globally around the world, and do licensing deals, and been selling it forever.
Yes.
Before the judge made the court ruling for the damages, which I got $3.5 billion in liens. I own all their properties and their companies. And I got almost $500,000 in attorney fees because I did pro se. I had to go in there and win the lawsuit on my own because my attorneys, even from the old California case back in 2005, or it actually started in 2003, but everybody knows 2005 because it's still on the internet. And everybody is still reading garbage and junk from 2005. It almost make you wonder, are we in time travel?
Sometimes I think we are. The cliche phrase may be the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, but I cannot believe that people are stuck on the internet. I told them the internet is not news. The internet is a distribution platform.
Yes, it is.
For you to make money on.
Yes, it is.
And you should be making money on it instead of reading gossip.
Well, the same thing.
You got to go to the news.
The actually same thing is with television. Television is to sell advertising.
Exactly.
And I have all these commercials that are on television, or you have to pay for the fact that you don't have commercials. And then there's the alpha waves and their MK Ultraing us, which is a topic for another day. And sorry, my politics is coming through, but that's true. It's not what people think it is.
Well, people always ask me questions. I say to them, if Tesla was alive right now,
Nikola Tesla,
would you be telling him instead of asking him questions, telling him about something that people wrote about him in books and papers that had never even met him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you ask the man questions, I mean, you got him, you would think you would ask questions. I know I would, because that would be the thing to do. And
I
if I
am a
needed to
big
know
fan of
something
Nikola
about
Tesla, and
him,
I totally agree with you.
yeah, I would go to the archives and read the real news.
Mm-hmm.
And the real news has been floating around for a long time, but
Mm-hmm.
we still have trolls. We still have people that are stuck in time. Look at the Matrix 4 resurrection, resuscitation trailer, because the movie, no movie, the trailer is nothing but a rehash, remix of the old 1999 Matrix movie with a bad ending that has already been resolved. The blue and red and blue pill has been resolved 22 years ago.
Yes, the original Matrix came out in 1999, folks, if you can remember way back
Yes.
then. Yeah, and I agree with you. And more people are being red pilled every day, I believe and hope. But I agree with you. I watched the trailer for the new movie, and I'm underwhelmed. And, it's like, okay, they were asleep and now they're awake or something. And it's like, okay, now what? So I'm with you on that. But you started in New York, and obviously you got a degree there and went there. Tell me about what happened with you in New York when you started out there in school.
Well, I'm a prodigy just like Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci. So I didn't even do any high school. I took the New York regions and went into college, got the degree, went to grad school at USC, and with Marcus Allen, Ronnie Lott, James Sinclair, August Curley, Dennis Johnson, and the Moore brothers. And of course, Charles White, the Heisman winner, was on his way out when I came in. He
Mm-hmm.
was a senior. And Marcus became the next Heisman winner. And then who introduced me to USC was a Heisman winner, Anthony Davis, who was my boyfriend.
Ah.
And later on, what inspired me to write The Third Eye, Matrix, and Terminator was Muhammad Ali. I was engaged to marry him from 1980 to 83. I was with him in the media, well known. Everyone knows about it. It's in, you can go to the archives and pull it up and see me in the media. I've been in the media since 1978
Yes, you have.
onward.
Now,
Yes.
being with Muhammad Ali during that time, it must have been very exciting.
It
And
was very inspirational. Let's
okay,
put it like
okay.
that. It was
Well,
very
okay.
inspirational because he inspired the Neo character, the
Ah,
one,
oh, okay. Tell
because
us about that.
they wrote about me in the Los Angeles Sentinel that I was going to come out with the first Black science fiction with Black leadership roles, something that had never been done before. And that the hero was inspired by Muhammad Ali because he was a Black superhero
Yes,
in a leadership role and was globally loved and known around the entire world.
to say the least.
And so I wrote it while in copywritten it at US at while I was at USC, but I was already well versed in law, already had the degree and majors in laws and to be a doctor and a journalist. And I had already worked for Channel 13 with Oscar award producer
Mm-hmm.
Perry Miller Dado. Had already worked, had some like phenomenal teachers, very wealthy and rich celebrity teachers. Max Siegel, uh, former journalist with the New York Times. Emil Kapudia, essay critic, author. Big Apple playwright Paul Cherry, and of course Leon Roth over at USC, the producer. His son is the screenwriter, Oscar winner, Eric Roth, Roth.
Roth,
He
okay.
got the Oscar for Airport 79.
Ah.
His dad was one of my teachers at USC.
So going back to the Muhammad Ali days and the fact that he has origins and has an impact your life and obviously your writings, tell us about that time when you were with Ali and because obviously it was after he was the world champion and whatnot, and we had a guest on last week that's a boxer, So I'm kind of in the boxing world indirectly through a project I'm working on called Tijuana Fight Nights. But how was the time with you in that time with Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, well, I was going to tell you, it's kind of strange because it seemed like I'm always attracted to these fighters or boxers because my
Like
husband,
I
he's
say,
a UFC fighter.
yes, your current
The
husband
husband I got
is a
now, his
UFC
name
husband.
is
He's a
James.
great looking guy. You
Yeah,
shot
my
me a picture
husband
of
is
him.
a
Yeah,
fighter,
good guy.
UFC fighter, and I love that. And Muhammad Ali, a fighter. And
Yes.
I myself is a fighter, but I fight with words.
Mm-hmm.
I create with words and I express words, and people love the words that I express and the characters and the graphics that I've created and the logos. All of that come from a book, just like J.R.R. Tolkien's Lords of the Ring
Mm-hmm.
book, Lord of the Ring movie, the Maze book, the Maze movie, the Gravity book, the Gravity movie. The Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book and script, copywritten 81, 83, and 84. This is where all of that originates from, original work. And I was looking for George Lucas actually to direct my work while I was at USC writing it.
Now, was George there when you were there? Because I know he went to USC.
No, George is and Spielberg and all of them are
Yep,
older
they're
than
older.
myself,
Okay.
and Lionel Richie, and all of them are much older.
And I know
Like I
there's a
told you, I'm a
big building being
prodigy. I
built right
didn't do
now at USC that's being
well. I'm a
funded by George
prodigy. I
Lucas.
didn't do any high school. I skipped those,
Ah,
3 or 4 years of high school and went on into college and got the degree.
well, there you go. So,
Yeah, no, Lucas and them, Lucas was just, I didn't know that he owned Star Wars. He and his wife at that time, Uh, when you see the screen credit, and I saw it in at the Apollo Theater in New
in
York
New York
City
City.
in
Yep. Uh-huh.
1977.
And yep,
Yeah,
yep,
when Star
yep.
Wars first came
Mm-hmm.
out. I had no idea Lucas had written it. It just says that he was the director.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was looking for, was the director at 20th Century Fox. Because Lucas had a deal with 20th Century Fox.
Well, I understand, though, that his friends, not only Spielberg, but also Francis Ford Coppola, kind of directed him a little bit because he was making some changes in the script. And it boils down to, from what I read about Star Wars, it's a little bit Western. And due to the changes that Francis Ford Coppola and Spielberg made, Lucas even admitted later that it was a better movie.
Well, I read it differently. Like in 1970s, 78,
Mm-hmm.
it was talking about how Lucas and his wife was actually struggling to write it
Yes.
and to keep it going. And the 20th Century Fox told them if they messed up any kind of way, they were going to be the ones that would own it. If they didn't come in on the time, the deadline,
Yeah,
the timeline.
the deadline.
And fortunately for Lucas, he did come in.
Yep.
And we got to own it and, made history.
Yep.
Which was phenomenal.
And then I think he sold Lucas Limited to Disney just before the taxes changed, because I remember talking about it in my Money Music show back in the day for $3.5 billion or something, $4 billion. Yeah, chunk of change.
Yeah, $4 billion.
Yeah, in cash and stock. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did well.
Yeah,
he did very well. So
well, maybe one day I might sell Matrix and Terminator.
There you go.
$6 billion for cash and and other things.
Sure. So what are a couple of the highlights of your time with Muhammad? Does anything come to mind?
Well, he was a great man. I mean, a very super great man. And if you ever met him, he's like nobody you've ever met before on earth. Just phenomenal. I learned so much from him.
How did you meet him?
It was really weird. I met him through one of his bodyguards, Abdullah. Abdullah used to come to the Lakers games all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Lakers were friends, all the Lakers, the majority of them were friends of mine, like Jim Chong, Cooper, Robert Cooper,
Mm-hmm.
Norm Nixon. They were the ones.
All the guys back with Showtime when Patrick Riley was coach, and Magic Johnson and Kareem and Mitch Kupchak and all those guys. Yeah, it was an amazing time.
I met a lot of the team and knew them.
Sure.
they would leave tickets for me. I still have those tickets that they left at the box office for me. They might be valuable because I saw the Celtics play
Yep.
and Kareem play, but
With
Kareem would
Larry
always
Bird.
leave.
Kareem would.
Yeah, Kareem would always leave. Um, Kareem would always leave after the game.
Ah.
Can you see? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
it.
Kareem would
You're
always
fine.
leave. What happened?
You're fine. You blinked a little bit. You're good. So Kareem would not stay around? I did not know that.
No, we would all go to the club because it was in Inglewood at that time.
Yes, it was at the Forum, the fabulous Forum.
All the players would come into the club and and party and drink and meet people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And of course, everybody would be there except for Kareem. He was the only one that would go home. So that's why I never met him. But I met all the rest of them, and I met Austin Carr, some of the other ones, whoever they would play, and they were friends with the different teams. They would be friends with whoever they were playing. They would introduce me to the different team members.
There you go. So through the Laker games that you went to, you met Muhammad Ali's bodyguard, and then of course you met Muhammad.
Yes, the bodyguard is he's the one that introduced me to Ali. It was kind of weird because he told me he had to do some business, with Ali. And then, of course, I asked to meet Ali. And, of course, he said it was going to be busy. He was going to be busy. But he told Ali about me. And Ali called me on the phone.
Oh, my.
And, of course, he told me he wanted to take me out and so forth. But, I just told him, look, I'll just meet you at wherever you want me to, to go. You're going to take me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of shocked because no one had ever turned him down. I mean, it was mind-boggling. I didn't know that. I was younger, way younger than he, very naive, so I didn't know, that people, they were just all clamoring for him and all this stuff. I mean,
well, he's a world champion. He's a popular guy. What did you expect?
No. Well, I knew about his popularity. I knew he was a champ. I knew, people loved him around the world. But as far as knowing him as a person, I didn't know him as a person.
Well, you talk about words. He was also a wordsmith in his own way as well.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something. He loved my writings. Mm-hmm. Make no mistake about mm-hmm. that. He had my writings framed on his wall in his mansion. Many people told me about it besides him. And he was just blown away. He would just always ask me, did you write this? Did you write that? And I said, yeah. He was just totally amazed. Even my teachers in New York, famous teachers, Max Siegel told me before the whole classroom, he said, you're already a writer. He says, there's nothing I can teach you. But I've been writing for a long time since I was in grade school, since I was in the 7th grade. So by the time I got into college, I was a master writer.
Well, I understand you're also
Venus and Serena playing tennis.
You're also a poet, and you probably didn't even know it back then.
No, I did know it. I had a book, a published book of poems and everything. So yes, I knew all about that. I can do any kind of writings. I'm a master writer. I can do science fiction, which I've done.
Well, obviously you can do. Obviously, you can do science fiction.
And I can do espionage. I can do mysteries, adventure, comedy. I can even listen to your story and write it.
Do you have any projects that you're working on now?
Yes, I'm working on some NFTs of Neo and Morpheus. The images that you see in the movies are going to be in NFTs shortly. I'm working on some licensing deals as we speak. And then I'm going to do Matrix 4 in animation because of the pandemic. I think that Matrix 4 as an animation would be great.
Oh,
and then
wow.
put out the Matrix attraction, which is the real metaverse world, not Facebook, but the Matrix 4 Evolution. Everybody, all my fans out there who've read it, it's almost 12 years old. It's been out since 2010. selling around the whole globe. The real fourth installment, not the garbage that they're trying to throw off on people for their monies, but the real Matrix 4 installment, which Warner Brothers offered me $30 million for the shooting script.
Wow.
To that work. That's right. $30 million.
Wow, that's fabulous. Yeah, Matrix 4, The Evolution, Cracking the Genetic Code. It's been out since 2010.
Yeah, you know what that's about? That is the real fourth installment, not resuscitation.
Yes, I
resuscitate something dead.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Resurrect something that you killed out, 18 years ago? That, because the last one was in 2003, 18 years ago. And people have been so plugged in, they don't even realize the last movie was in 2003. That's 18 years ago.
Yes, indeed.
19 years.
Yes.
So I continued my work with Evolution because now Neo is fighting a greater threat. These new machines are coming after him. And the red and blue pill was resolved 22 years ago, back in 1999.
Well, if he hadn't taken the red pill, there would have been no movie.
Exactly.
I mean,
so
there was foregone conclusion, right?
Why would it take a blue pill? And why would there be a psychiatrist? There was no psychiatrist. He's not crazy.
Yeah.
Where's the Oracle? Where's Agent Smith? Because he's still lingering around until he get replaced with the hologram clones. And where's the logo? It's not a recipe. It's binary codes, the 1 and the 0 of the machines.
Yes.
Neo is fighting the machines, not fighting a recipe with no green tint. Where's the green tint?
Good question.
And this bad ending.
Well, I'm curious to see.
Is Neo looking like John Wick?
Well, I think it's amazing that Keanu Reeves has had two movies that have trilogies, right? John Wick and, of course, The Matrix. Guy's amazing in terms of landing projects that go on and on and on and on and on.
Okay, but why is John Wick rebranded as the Matrix? Because if I look over at John Wick, I see Morpheus over there. I see Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes, he is. There was the first time they've actually acted together since The Matrix. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I see the woman in red.
Sorry, folks. Look, it's a spoiler alert.
Yeah, I see the woman in red over there at John Wick. I even see Sophia. Sophia, played by Halle Berry.
Yes.
Sophia's
Yes.
So wait a minute. All of that comes from The Matrix.
So what you're saying then is, I'm going to get back to the third eye in a second, is if that's true, which I believe that it is, then there's 3 movies of sorts that you've have impacted: The Matrix, Terminator, and John Wick.
Well, of course, because do not tell me that you have not seen Lawrence Fishburne character over there. He's supposed to be in the continuation of The Matrix. He never had no son, so I don't know where the son came from with the Joker's outfit on. If you look at the poster, one of the movie posters, one of 20 movie posters and 20 trailers, they keep changing everything and adding and taking away from the trailers. Morpheus never had a son. He never got married, never had no wife.
Not that I know of. Yeah.
Yeah, not that anybody knows of. And I had to make 2 and 3, which was horrible, a dream, because the concept was going in the wrong direction. So why would he have a son? And why would David Mitchell Cloud Atlas? David Mitchell Cloud Atlas book, Cloud Atlas movie. Why would his name be on The Matrix? He never wrote The Matrix, so why would his name be on Matrix 4 resuscitation or resurrection? That doesn't make any sense. You can't go and put your name on H.G. Wells' work. You can't go and put your name on Picasso's work.
No.
You can't go and put your name on Michael Jackson's work.
Well, I think what they're hoping on...
You can't put your name on Sophia Stewart's work.
No, of course not. I think what they're hoping is people have short memories.
Well, they're trying to think like people are idiots, not short memory. They're saying that people are retarded.
Or no memory.
Oh, it got nothing to do with memory. It don't have nothing to do with memory. People are programmed and tell a vision, tell a lie with a vision, tell a vision, tell you the lie. There are these subliminals, advertisement, marketing. And then you look at the trailers, which there are 17 of them. Go to YouTube and look at 17 and look at the posters. It's got to be 10 of them. And they keep changing every minute. They're changing into something else.
Well, I agree with you on television. I mean, my comment is what we watch on television are called programs. And the reason why they're called programs is because they're trying to program us. Now, if we go back, I just want to go back to the origins of the third eye. Can you take us back to there? Because I know you wrote it way back when in the early 80s. And it was
I wrote
a
it
short.
while I was at USC.
Yeah, you wrote it back in
1980,
81.
My
Yeah.
copyrights 83
Mm-hmm.
and 84. Terminator didn't come out till October the 26th,
84.
1984.
Yep.
My last copyright is February the 6th, 1984.
Okay.
The Matrix didn't come out till March the 31st, 1999. That's the national release.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it possible? They are nothing but derivatives derived from the source. So how is Andy and Larry Wachowski getting credit for something that was already published and out there selling? Just like the Harry Potter book was already out there selling, Harry Potter, Larry Potter, and the Muggles. And then what did J.K. Rowling do? She go and change the name to Harry Potter, put a lightning bolt and said he's the devil's son, and put 3,000 to 4,000 year witchcraft. And people didn't know this other lady, I think her name was Campbell, wrote the real Larry Potter and the Muggles.
That I did not know. Harry Potter. I did not know that.
Oh yeah, you can look it up.
Oh no, I shall. I will. I'm sure our
This
audience
is
will
why
too.
you don't see any more Harry Potter. They stole all these franchises. Harry Potter franchise was stolen. The Matrix and Terminator was stolen. Pirates of the Caribbean was stolen. Avatar was stolen. That's why you don't see any of them anymore, because all of them were stolen.
Well, Avatar is James Cameron, which of course also did the Terminators.
Yeah, well, James Cameron didn't do any Terminator. He just terminated and lied to you guys. He's a liar and a thief. And I called him that many years. He can't even write. What he was writing was witchcraft, 2 pages of it. And what he tried to do with Avatar is an ascending master. He is not a body of possession to possess your body. No, what he did was Avatar is nothing but Pocahontas. It belongs to Disney, Pocahontas, and Time Spirit, 1985, Time Spirit. That's where the blue woman comes from in all the scenes, the Time Spirit by Stephen J. Perry. And they, of course, some people killed him because he had the greatest claim to the Avatar empire that Cameron stole from 12 people.
Interesting.
In fact, I have one guy who got sabotaged by his attorneys to actually get his Avatar copyright, to get that copyright. Wow. This is all in the media, but of course people don't read.
No, people don't read. Well, my understanding is there's supposed to be like 2, 3, or 4 more Avatar movies, but they haven't been released yet.
Let me tell you, Avatar came out in 2009.
Yes.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. That is for 11 years. He's not putting nothing out. Come on.
No.
And he couldn't get any money. Is that a joke or something? Oh, wait a minute. Disney gave him $300 million to do some more avatars. But oh yeah, that's right. He can't write and he can't steal from anybody else. So what happened? Oh yeah, Disney Pocahontas didn't sue him. He used you think I'm joking?
No.
I'll show it to you, and I'll show you Time Spirit, the comic book by Stephen J. Perry.
Well, in the original words of Elvis Costello, there's no such thing as an original sin.
I'm not going to call anybody a liar and a thief unless I can show you better than I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
If you think I can't show you, I will email you everything I spoke about. I can show it to the audience and back it up 100%.
Well, I can vouch for that because when we first started chatting, you emailed me a plethora of documents regarding your lawsuit. So I have no doubt that you've obviously got more in your quiver regarding that regard. Now, can we go back to the third eye, the origins, where you got the idea, where you got the inspiration, and the fact that you claim or state that that John Connor of the Terminator is the origins and related to Neo in the Matrix.
Oh yeah, well let me just tell people, I've written 4 books on Terminator and Matrix. Yeah, 4 books. So it blows my mind when people say, are you going to continue the work? And I've been continuing the work, but you haven't been looking to see the book.
Well, the answer is yes.
Every great book, every great movie is come from a book. Especially the best ones are book. And let me just tell you, the Third Eye, Matrix, and Terminator. The third eye is the eye of God, because on earth we have 2 eyes.
Yes. Well, that's your
and the all-seeing, all-knowing eye is of God. And the Matrix is a 7,000-year Latin word for the woman's womb, her stargate, her portal, because God's children come out of a womb and not out of a laboratory. They're not lab rats. They are 3-dimensional beings. And Terminator End Time Revelations is because in Revelations, the end, it says that a second child is coming when something happens upon the earth so bad. The second coming of the Christ consciousness will come again, be born of a woman. And the machines in the future, when the war is going against, the artificial intelligence is warring against man, is a prophecy, the oracle's prophecy, that a baby is going to be born. And it's going to be born to Sarah Connor. So the Terminator, which is the prequels, the beginning of the epic story in the book, has to time travel to the past to kill Sarah Connor. But one of the rebels during the rebellion, Kyle Reese, he knows that the prophecy also, he knows that he has to time travel to save her. Now the Terminator is wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed, looking like a person, came naked without shame, because he's a machine. He didn't put on any clothes until someone told him to put the clothes on. Kyle Reese quickly put on clothes, immediately put on clothes. Kyle Reese immediately put on clothes and came to protect Sarah Connor. And Vertley falls in love with her, gets her pregnant, and he has to go back to the future from where he came. He can't stay in the past. It is past, present, and future time travel. That's what the Terminator and the Matrix
is. Kyle was a real person, and obviously the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, wasn't. So yeah, I follow that, right? So
Schwarzenegger was what now?
He was a machine, as opposed to Kyle was a real person.
Yeah, he was a machine. Yeah. But he didn't know, that he was a machine, because he looked like a human.
Right.
Wrapped in flesh. Because H.G. Wells was born in the Iron Age, and everything on his was metal clankety clank. I was born in the digital age, so I'm talking about digital coins, which I'll call them Bitcoins now.
Okay.
I'm talking about Apple, iPhones, and the tablet and all of that stuff. In the book, the Third Eye, Matrix, and Terminator book. And I'm talking about in the 4th installment, the metaverse world, which is the Matrix world of virtual reality. I'm talking about a virtual penal system, the virtual penal system, the virtual skateboard, the virtual businesses and everything, the coins.
Yeah, you talk about in the Third Eye, if I remember, the evolution of consciousness. Can you touch on that?
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Well, you know what the evolution of consciousness is, that people are dead consciously. They are asleep. They are plugged in. They are programmed, and they don't even know what is going on, and they're dying. And God says, my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. They die because they do not know what's going on. They are slaughtered and led to slaughter because they will not wake up. They're like sheep, where David in the Bible is watching and protecting them. And what is David doing? He is slaying wolves, bears, and lions, and bulls and everything to keep them away from the sheep. Even
I'm
Goliath
going to say
was slayed.
even Goliath, right? And he had the faith to do that as well. I mean, in addition to the expertise, Goliath was probably what 7-8 feet tall. Yeah, he was an Ephraim. So how, in terms of in the Third Eye and Nero and John Connor, how do we go from? And you've mentioned it, but I just want you to expand a little more for our audience.
Yeah, well,
How do we go
JC,
from JC John Connor, Jesus Christ, to Nero?
right, JC John Connor's Jesus Christ grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. It is past, present, and future time travel because if you look at the first Terminator, you see the story where the Terminator tries to terminate Sarah Connor, then try to kill the son, John Connors, who grows up to be the leader of the rebellion.
Yes.
And John the Revelator was the only one to call Jesus the One. And the word matrix is a generic word, a 7,000-year-old Latin word for the woman stargate. The difference between a man and a woman is that a woman will have a baby. A man will never, ever have a baby. I don't care what lie Dr. Frankenstein has promised a man. I don't care if he pays him 40, 50, or 100,000 to cut off his seeds, which is his peanuts. He's never going to have a baby. He's never going to have a feeding tube, the umbilical cord, breast milk. Not going to happen. He might have a tumor, which is called a false growth on his body, but he'll never be able to birth because that is a woman's job. Totally.
I couldn't agree with you more, even though Arnold one time said, it's not a tumor. So, so we have the Terminator in Jesus Christ, John Connor, is the origins of Nero in the Matrix. So how do those two connect?
Well, the Matrix is talking about, if you look at Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse, excuse me, and that verse, it is talking about, God says, he who opens the matrix that come out of the woman's womb are his children. They're three-dimensional beings. The astral body, which is spirit, the physical body, which takes 9 months or 36 weeks. And then, of course, the third body, which is the seed or the soul that attaches to the physical body. So when a doctor is performing an abortion, if he goes up to the 12th week to perform that abortion, he's killing a living soul.
Yes.
But if he goes up to 11 weeks, he can do the peel after, blood, water, and spirit.
Okay.
Now, what people need to know is that Matrix is mentioned 5 times in the King James's Bible, 3 times in Exodus, 2 times in Numbers.
Okay.
And if you do not believe me, Google, while I'm talking about this, Google and look at it and read it for yourselves. So when people use the word matrix, which Warner Brothers and these people are using, it's just a generic, just like you use cola. But you're not getting the formula of Coca-Cola. You're not getting Pepsi Cola or RC Cola or Shasta Cola. You're just getting a cola. So what they're trying to do is pass off a cola.
I was going to say it's a knockoff.
Or a matrix off on the people. Because you got Matrix Toyota, you got Matrix Conversions, Matrix Poker, Matrix Insurance. Anybody can use the word matrix. You just can't use the Matrix. And you can't use the Terminators and Neo and Trinity and all the characters and images that are created. Can't use those. That's why Jada Pinkett Rose, she looks like she's on Star Trek, bald-headed in Star Trek. That's why you see the Neo looking like John Wick. He don't look like Neo. And look at Carrie-Ann Moss, bro. Gosh, she looked like some woman that wrecked in a vet. She doesn't look like the strong, brave Trinity. And of course, the psychiatrist is the Oracle, I guess, but he's a psychiatrist, so he doesn't look like he's giving any kind of news to help me.
Or any advice. I saw a little bit of a clip last night, just in preparation, because the movie's coming out, of course. It's out next week, although we're doing a pre-record. They did a lot of virtual. They did a lot of virtual stuff.
Out as a derivative, I can take it by copyrights and take all the money. Did you hear what I said? I can take it by copyrights. I can take the copyrights from them like I did with everything. On all the derivatives, I took the copyrights. I own the music. I own the 4 Oscars. I own everything. And I'm smart in law. So I got the trademark, the copyrights, all of it. Piece
Well,
of cake.
and also the origins and then the creation of the beginnings of it as well.
Yeah, the book. The book. I mean,
Right. The
the
third
book.
eye.
Look, if you do a trail and you can trace anything by trailing it back to the source. And what is the source? The Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book is the source. If you go in that source, you're going to see all the characters, all the graphics, all the special effects, the red and blue pills, and Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All of it's there. We'll be back. He comes back as 3 Terminators, cyborgs. Metaverse, meta world is right there. So
Yes.
Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, Matrix was out a long time, sweetie.
Well, both of them
So
actually.
you can tell people all this mess like you're coming up with Tesla stuff. You're coming up with somebody else's stuff. Sorry.
Well,
You're
they
just
both are
lying to the
correlated
public.
in the sense that they're in both the Matrix and Terminator. It's a war against the machines.
That's exactly what it is. It's the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of conscious man versus machine, but it's done up in science fiction form. It ain't done up religiously.
No.
It's not done up like biblically. It is done with numbers. The universal language is mathematics, and that's what it's done up in math.
That makes perfect sense. Well, of course, with the numbers going up and down.
Yeah, that's why the numbers,
the
the
Matrix.
binary codes of the
Binary
machines
codes.
is 1 and 0, the 1
Yes.
and the 0, the binary codes.
And that I minored in computer science in college, and that's where it all came from, is binary ones and zeros. That's the total foundation of all
so what
programs.
Are they doing with a
Everyone.
recipe?
Yep.
Look at the trailer. The trailer has a recipe. What is a recipe doing here? A recipe with no green tint. I mean, you could tell they're trying to create a generic, trying to pawn off. And they did some NFTs, some generic NFTs, because they can't use any images from the Matrix or Terminator, because the feds will come out and arrest them for counterfeiting. Because after the judge's ruling in Utah, federal court, where the judge ruled that they had access to my property, my book and my script, and that I own the Matrix and Terminator movie franchises. So people need to wake up. 2 federal judges did the rulings on this. One of my own CPAs got up there and said they lost, Warner Brothers lost $500 million. That was the slush fund payoffs. The payoffs that you see with Clinton and Hillary's, their foundations, slush fund payoffs. And to get Obama out of office, and that's when Obama got those slush fund payoffs from that validation from that CPA from Los Angeles. He validated that they lost $500 million, but you can't lose $500 million when Matrix and Terminator made billions of dollars.
Yeah, made billions of dollars. Well, I call it financial gymnastics. I know
there was no loss.
Major studios play so many games in terms of fees and the bottom line and payoffs and everything else, so that they don't show a profit. Exactly.
Yeah, but listen, you can't make a movie for $70 million and lose and make billions of dollars off. You made it for $70 million, and anything after that is nothing but profit. So making billions of dollars when it only costs $70 million to make, do the math. How can you lose $500 million?
Well, it was several billion. It was more than that. And again, payoffs and financial gymnastics.
$500 million and it only costs $70 million to make the Matrix. I'm sorry, I have to crack up laughing.
Well, no, I'm with you on
Anybody
it.
can do the math.
No, I had an uncle who was a founder of a animation company called Filmation, did a lot of cartoons back in the day, and he watched Ghostbusters and came to the conclusion real fast that it was his idea. He went to Paramount and he knew the game. He sued him, and he got a percentage of the gross because he knew how it was played, and he was an inside guy. So I get it. And they said, well, we're going to show we didn't make any profit. And he said, no, don't play that game with me. I'll rip it apart and show you how you did. And of course he won. So you're right. You're absolutely correct.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. This is what they were trying to do. They were trying to prevent me from getting any money, any damages. Because when you sue, you're not suing to get your property back. Everybody knows the property's in your name. Somebody steal your DeLorean out of the yard, and the DeLorean's title's in your name. So you don't have to go get your car back. You know what I'm talking about? It's the money that they made.
Yes.
They made $1 million off the DeLorean. The money belongs to you. You filed a lawsuit for damages. You put in a criminal case to arrest them for counterfeiting. And they didn't want me to have the damages, so they dropped the bomb with one of my own CPAs that they lost $500 million. I could have objected. I'm a full-fledged lawyer. I know how to do that work. But I let it stand because I needed Obama to get that information. And right away, Obama got it. I sent it up with a tracker. He got that information. He needed to know where the slush fund payoff was coming from. Immediately, Eric Holder got fired. He was crying on TV. The day I won, September 25th, 2014. Mm-hmm. A year later, Boehner, House Speaker Boehner,
mm-hmm.
was also fired. He was crying the same way as Eric Holder.
Yeah, Boehner was a tearjerker.
Yeah, the DOJ for 7 years and never prosecuted one case. Not one criminal case. How can you be the top law enforcement and never prosecute one case for the public?
That's a very, very valid, good question.
He was taking payoffs. And Obama got him out of there because I told Obama that Boehner and Eric Holder was trying to run him out of there. And I wrote it up in the legal brief so everybody can read it. So folks, if you don't believe it, go pull up those legal briefs from the Utah federal courts. Excuse me. Go pull them up and read it.
Now, how come it was in Utah?
I'm talking about
no, I know the federal court was the judgment was in Utah, a federal court, but how did it end up in Utah, real quick?
Because I got sabotaged in California, so the feds, FBI, told me take it to Utah. And that was smart.
Yeah. At least they gave you some good advice.
The FBI told me that.
They gave you some good advice. So in the last few minutes here, I know you talked about earlier. So you're working on some more Matrix, working on an animation, and any time frame of when it might be out?
Excuse me. Hold on a moment.
Sure. Folks, while you're listening and watching, you have tuned into On Air with Walt, and it's OnAirWithWalt.com. Let's see where we're going here. There we go. And there I am. I got to fire the engineer. You're on air with Walt, and we've been with Sophia Stewart, who is actually the mother of the Matrix, as you've heard. And you have
to wear these because we're celebrities.
Yeah, I know. We're all celebrities here. So, and you can find her ad as it's on there is, I had it in my notes somewhere real quick. It's truthaboutmatrix.com. And you okay there, Sophia? Is there anything else you want to say before we scoot?
Oh, yes. I had to get some water. I'm so sorry about
No worries.
That.
I've been drinking water all the time, so
but we
I
have
get
to
it.
wear these masks.
Yeah, I know you're in Nevada.
They're just horrible.
Yeah,
you can't breathe.
They are horrible.
And we've been wearing them for 2 years now.
Too long.
Yes. So that's the problem.
So your future projects, what do you got coming out, and any idea of when?
I can't tell you right now, but I'm working on the NFTs, so they'll be coming out soon.
Now NFT stands for what?
Well, like right now, you know what the NFT stand for, but I can't say right now because I am really kind of messed up with this cold and this mask.
Okay. Well, we are going to sign off here. Is there anything else you want to say to our audience before we how do they get a hold of you if they want to learn more about you?
Yes, they can do Matrix, the Matrix Terminator.com website, matrixterminator.com. Excuse me.
And also, I understand it's the truthaboutmatrix.com as well. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one. And get the Evolution, Matrix 4 Evolution, but get the real book. I'm sorry that, I am coughing with that.
Hey, it's quite all right. We're going to sign off here. And again, it's Matrix 4 Evolution, the Cracking the Genetic Code. It's actually available wherever you find books. And again, Sophia, thanks so much for given your health, being a guest here on Air with Walt, and you've tuned into On Air with Walt. You can find us on OnAirWithWalt.com. We are broadcasting live from ubngo.com and also on Twitter. Space.
Sorry about that.
I even have a space. There we go. I even have a MySpace page. I just found out from my executive producer. So we're going to sign off here and catch up our next show. And I appreciate you watching and hope you enjoyed this one. God bless everyone.